Archangel Michael says, a sealed gift from heaven has arrived with your name etched in light. Congratulations! Your blessing has been delivered from heaven. Open this right now before time runs out. Open it immediately. A hush falls over the room as the invisible package glows, and the air tastes like new rain. You can feel it in your chest, a steady warmth, like sunrise pushing back a long night. Michael stands at your right shoulder, armor gleaming, and he nods for you to step forward. Do not fear the weight of this moment, because it was made for you before your first breath. Every road, every detour, every heartbreak has led you to this threshold of release. The lock responds to your courage, and the seal listens for the truth in your heartbeat. You are not late, you are precisely on time, standing where destiny shakes off the dust. The clock that frightened you is not your enemy, it is a drum calling you into rhythm. Michael lifts his sword, and even the shadows remember the boundaries of your light. There is a letter inside this blessing that only your spirit can read. It is written in the language of mercy, signed with the ink of endurance. As you hold it, you realize, nothing was wasted, and everything is being returned purified. First, release the weight you carried like old armor that no longer fits your growth. Set down the guilt that never belonged to you and the blame that never healed anything. Your hands cannot lift the new until they unclasp the old that tired your bones. Now breathe, deeply and slowly, until the air finds the corners you forgot to visit. Let each breath be a bell that calls your scattered pieces back home. In the pause after the exhale, feel the fresh room heaven has cleared for you. Michael spreads a map of luminous paths, and each road shines with a different answer. One road is honest love, clean and steady like a river after a storm. Another is provision, the kind that shows up right when the table needs warmth. There is also a path of clarity where confusion cannot keep its footing. Here, your name is pronounced correctly by life itself, and your purpose turns sharp. Even silence becomes an ally, and you learn the music that lives beneath stillness. Walk with Michael, and step where your peace expands instead of shrinks. Choose the doors that widen your breath rather than the rooms that narrow it. Your blessing responds to alignment the way a sunflower follows the sun. You will notice small signs that confirm this opening is real. An unexpected call that lands softly, a delayed answer that now arrives on time. A long-locked window that slides open with the gentlest touch of your decision. People who cannot honor your becoming will drift like fog leaving a valley at noon. Let them go without turning your joy into an apology. Your heart is not a courtroom, it is a garden, and not every passerby gets to plant seeds. Forgiveness now becomes a key you can finally carry without bleeding. It does not excuse harm, it simply breaks the old chain from your ankle. You step forward lighter, and even your shadow looks relieved. In the letter you read a promise about your voice. It says that when you speak from truth, rooms will rearrange to listen. Not because you force them, but because your tone holds the calm of a mountain. There is also a line about provision that arrives like a steady tide. Not a wave that knocks you over, but a faithful rhythm that meets your days. You will know it by how it brings order, not chaos, roots, not just branches. Michael places a feather of courage in your palm. It looks delicate, but it can carry the weight of a season. When you close your hand, you realize bravery has always fit your fingers. The blessing whispers instructions that feel like remembering. Drink water before decisions, let sleep mend what talk cannot. Keep your space as an altar of peace, and your schedule as an instrument of focus. You are asked to honor boundaries the way the shore honors the sea. Let what is not yours return to its own tide. Let what loves you enough to stay learn the language of your shoreline. From this day, your name is a key that fits new doors. Opportunities will arrive without the old hunger attached. They will be sized for your growth and tailored for your integrity. You will not need to announce your worth in loud rooms. Your quiet will become a cathedral that hosts only what is sacred. Your work will hum with a frequency that draws right people at right times. When panic knocks, remember it is only a leftover echo. Answer with breath, answer with posture, answer with the calm of someone claimed. Michael stands post at the doorway of your hours, and fear learns it has no citizenship. There is a chapter in this blessing about relational restoration. It says the right conversations will find you when your heart stops performing for approval. It says the bridge you need will appear when you stop begging the river for permission. Another chapter teaches the prosperity of simplicity. It reminds you that abundance is a garden of enoughs, tended daily. Here, gratitude is the rain, and discipline is the sunlight that keeps things alive. You will receive ideas that feel like returning birds. Catch them gently, give them branches to rest, and pages to nest in. Not every bird is for keeping, but each one teaches you the wind. Michael shows you how to travel without carrying yesterday in your pocket. He wipes the fog from the mirror and your reflection nods back, fully awake. The person you were waiting for has been waiting inside you, patient and ready. This blessing cancels the counterfeit narratives that tried to borrow your name. It rescinds agreements you never meant to sign with worry and smallness. It publishes a new decree over your life that reads, "Safe to grow here." You will begin to notice ease where struggle used to rehearse itself. The right key turns on the first try, the door opens without a dramatic scene. Not because life owes you, but because you are aligned with what is yours. Your days will learn a new choreography. The steps are gratitude, courage, focus, and rest. Repeat them until your muscles remember and your hours dance without tripping. Michael places a shield over your mind, polished like calm water. Thoughts that used to stick now slide off like rain from glass. You choose the thoughts that choose your future, and you escort the rest to the exit. The letter speaks of reconciliation with your own timeline. No more scolding yourself for chapters that took longer to write. The ink is yours now, and the margins are wide with grace. You will find mentors where you expected mirrors, and mirrors where you expected critics. Both will serve you. One to teach, the other to tell the truth. Either way, you grow, and growth is loyalty to the person you were born to become. There is a treasury in this blessing reserved for your good works. It opens as you pour into what you were created to contribute. As you give your gift, provision returns like a faithful echo in a friendly canyon. Michael teaches you how to carry success like a lantern, not a siren. Your victories will illuminate paths for others without drowning their stories. You will be trusted with doors because you don't slam them on people behind you. When old triggers try to host a reunion, decline the invitation. Let your nervous system learn the peace it once thought was a rumor. Your body deserves to know what safety feels like in daylight. You will sleep deeper as you stop rehearsing the worst-case play. Dreams will move furniture in your soul until the room fits your calling. You'll wake with sentences that feel like scaffolding for new structures. Michael crowns you with quiet authority that does not need applause. He anoints your no with the same dignity as your yes. He teaches your feet how to leave places that no longer honor your future. This is the hour to organize your hope. Name your priorities and set your table like you expect good company. Answers love a prepared room, solutions sit where chairs have been pulled out for them. Your lineage smiles as you choose healing that blesses those who come after you. The stories that held you will now hold meaning instead of chains. You become a turning point, a living border where harm stops traveling forward. Michael folds the map and hands it to you, but the glow remains on your path. He says your steps are heard in heaven and your patience is now bearing fruit. He says the window is open, and the wind is carrying your yes to the right places. Stand tall in the newness that does not apologize for being new. Wear your peace like perfectly tailored clothing. Let your gratitude be loud in action and steady in tone. This blessing is not a moment, it is a season. It will teach you how to harvest without hoarding and to celebrate without fear. It will teach you how to be a lighthouse without setting yourself on fire. As you close the letter, it does not vanish, it settles into your chest. Your shoulders drop, your breath deepens, and your pace turns sure. What tried to hurry you can no longer command you, you walk by permission of peace. Michael steps back, but not away, and the armor of your spirit fits perfectly. You will make brave, ordinary choices that form extraordinary outcomes. You will be surprised by how soft strength can feel when it finally belongs to you. The room is quiet now, but you are not the same. You carry the seal of a life reclaimed, a future unafraid. The blessing is open, alive, and faithfully at work in your days. If anyone expects the old you, they will be gently disappointed. You are not obligated to audition for memories that didn't love your truth. Your presence is the announcement, your peace is the proof. Walk out of this moment like stepping onto a sunrise. Say yes to the rhythm that matches your becoming. Keep what honors you, release what doesn't, and let grace handle the math. Michael looks at you and smiles like someone who always knew you'd arrive. He salutes your courage with a quiet nod that says continue. You cross the threshold, and the door you open becomes a door for others. This is your time, chosen and clear. This is your chapter, written in a steady hand. This is your blessing, delivered and alive in your every step. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, stay with this light as if it were warm bread in your hands, because it is meant to feed you through the next doors. The glow that began in your chest now travels along your spine like sunrise learning your name. You are escorted by certainty, and certainty walks with a calm rhythm that steadies your steps. You stand in a hallway of quiet opportunities where each door listens for your footsteps. The air feels newly washed, and even your memories smell like rain on dry ground. You move forward and the floor agrees with your direction like a faithful friend. Michael gestures toward a door etched with the word alignment. Inside, work becomes a devotion instead of a demand, and time behaves like a willing partner. Projects gather themselves around your focus and finish with dignity instead of chaos. Another door opens to restoration, and it carries the fragrance of answers that do not shout. Estranged hearts begin to soften the way ice releases to spring, and truth chooses gentle language. You show up with boundaries and kindness, and doors that once resisted now move on their hinges. There is a room called provision where your yes is measured and your needs are honored. Bills line up to be dissolved in order, responsibilities receive the help they require, and your plans breathe. You receive without scrambling and you contribute without depletion. Michael places a small book in your hands called Practice. It is filled with simple pages that ask you to drink water, move your body, and keep your space hospitable to clarity. The pages turn themselves and your life hums like a well-tuned instrument. You notice that fear tries one last performance out of habit. It brings old lines and the same costumes, but the script no longer fits your voice. You bow it off the stage and let the curtain fall on a story you no longer fund. Your creativity returns like birds reclaiming a morning after the storm has traveled on. Ideas land on your windowsill and peck softly until you let them inside. You gather them kindly, label them accurately, and give them a schedule that respects your energy. Michael sets a lantern at your doorway that never needs replacing. It glows whenever you choose truth over performance and peace over urgency. Its light follows you into rooms where you must remain yourself in the presence of noise. There is a harvest forming from seeds you forgot you planted. You watered them with persistence when no one was watching, and heaven kept the count. Now the field bows to your footsteps and offers sheaves that fit your arms. You learn the geometry of enough, and it looks like a house with open windows. Fresh air moves through plans that once felt crowded, and your plans exhale relief. Clarity becomes furniture that fits the room and invites good company. Michael places a bell in your spirit that rings whenever something is not for you. The bell is not loud, it is accurate, and accuracy saves time. You honor the bell and your calendar learns loyalty to your calling. The blessing teaches you to celebrate without anxiety. You clap without looking over your shoulder, and gratitude stretches your lungs. Joy stays, not as a visitor, but as a resident with keys in its pocket. You adopt a pace that can be sustained by love instead of adrenaline. Sleep becomes a sanctuary that resets your horizons, and mornings arrive with friendly light. You wake ready to meet the day like a host who already set the table. Michael shows you a ledger where every brave choice earns compound peace. You watch small obediences become large freedoms, and you carry yourself accordingly. The math of heaven favors consistency, and your consistency chooses you back. Old rooms that once demanded your compliance now look smaller than your healed posture. You stand straight without needing to explain your height. Your silence grows gardens and your words water them on schedule. There is a blueprint for relationships that honors your softness and protects your edges. You read it with relief and begin building with people who speak in steady tones. Shared purpose replaces drama, and laughter learns reliable timing. Your hands are anointed to build what lasts longer than applause. You measure twice, cut once, and waste no wood. Value becomes visible in the seams that hold under pressure. Michael opens a window to the season ahead where resources match assignments. The right tools arrive, the right mentors appear, and the right doors open inward. Nothing required of you is missing, and nothing missing is required of you. You give yourself permission to be new in places that knew your former version. Your authenticity does not owe anyone a performance of your past. You walk honestly, and honesty builds bridges that carry real weight. Habits line up like faithful workers ready to show up daily. Focus ties your hair back and rolls up its sleeves with a smile. Distraction loses interest when it finds no stage in your schedule. Michael points to your name written on a banner that refuses to tear. It represents identity secured by mercy and exercised with wisdom. You carry it quietly, and its presence settles conversations without a single raised word. The blessing teaches your finances how to breathe. Generosity opens windows, stewardship closes leaks, and contentment sweeps the floor. Your table holds both bread and boundaries, and your cup does not apologize for being full. You treat your body like a trusted companion instead of an afterthought. It receives respect, nourishment, movement, and rest in fair measure. Strength returns as a natural result of care, and fatigue loses its throne. Michael invites you to release outcomes you cannot choreograph. You choose diligence and let results ripen in their rightful time. Patience stops feeling like delay and starts feeling like wisdom. Your home learns the language of order without obsession. You keep what serves, release what subtracts, and make room for breath. Even the corners begin to smile because they know they belong. You accept being seen by the right eyes and ignored by noise that cannot recognize value. Visibility becomes a tool, not an identity, and you use it cleanly. Fame has no jurisdiction, impact chooses sincerity and stays loyal to it. Michael seals your mind against rehearsals of loss that never happened. You retire from catastrophes that only existed as auditions in your thoughts. Reality thanks you, and your nervous system learns a softer script. Your daily list contains fewer items with more meaning. You execute with care, close your laptop with honor, and enjoy evenings that feed your soul. Rest becomes an ally that multiplies results without making a scene. The blessing instructs you to let silence finish its work before you answer. You listen long enough to hear the true assignment hidden inside the noise. Your replies carry weight because they are carved from attention, not reaction. Michael gives you language for boundaries that sound like kindness. You say yes when presence exists and no when peace would be the price. Your connections deepen, and shallow waters lose their appeal. Opportunities arrive that match the size of your preparation. You meet them without flinching because you practiced in secret. Public moments feel normal when private discipline has been faithful. The garden in you produces fruit that feeds more than your address. You share without emptying, because sharing comes from overflow, not obligation. Communities you touch become steadier, and gratitude echoes between houses. Michael lays a cloak of calm over future plans that used to demand urgency. You schedule with foresight and make room for joy to interrupt with gifts. Surprises turn friendly, and your flexibility learns choreography with grace. You learn the power of closing loops on time. Messages are answered, promises are honored, and small tasks do not become heavy. Integrity gathers all your pieces into a trustworthy whole. The blessing rewrites your relationship with feedback. You receive what is true, release what is projection, and grow without bitterness. Correction becomes fertilizer, and your roots deepen instead of hardening. Michael stations peace at your entrances and wisdom at your exits. What enters your life is welcomed with discernment, and what leaves is blessed without grasping. Your thresholds become sacred places where intention shakes hands with grace. You remember to celebrate the ordinary day that does not ask for applause. Dishes clink with gratitude, floors shine with quiet pride, and laundry smells like a fresh start. Holiness hides in the small faithfuls, and you notice it smiling. Your future no longer shouts from a distance because it now walks beside you. You feel its presence like a steady friend who knows your pace. Together you take the next step, because the next step is always enough. Michael raises his sword over your hours and draws a circle of protection that does not fade. Courage settles like morning dew on your plans and refuses to evaporate under heat. You progress without theatrics, and your progress becomes a testimony of steady light. The blessing crowns this day with sufficiency and lines tomorrow with invitation. Your name remains inscribed on the map, and the map keeps updating with favor. Every breath participates, every choice aligns, and every step lands. You return to your room and find it larger than when you began. The windows open easily and the curtains move like friendly waves. You exhale, you smile, and you agree with the life that is finally yours. The morning meets you like a friend who kept your seat warm. You move through your room and every object seems to understand its assignment. Order is no longer a performance, it is the quiet standard of your new life. You have learned the tenderness of strong choices. They do not shout or stomp, they simply keep their word until results appear. Your calendar now feels like a river with banks, not a flood without edges. Peace has stopped asking for permission to stay. It has a key to your house and a drawer for its belongings. It cooks in your kitchen and leaves light on in the hallway. You listen to the hour before it starts working on you. In that listening you hear the soft click of correct timing. You discover that alignment is faster than hurry, and kinder too. People with calm eyes begin to find you. They bring projects that respect the tempo of your gift. Together you work like instruments that already know the song. You keep your promises to yourself the way gardeners water seedlings. Not with drama, but with faithful cups that add up to forests. This is how your blessing chooses permanence over fireworks. Old habits come to negotiate, but you do not bargain with what once broke you. You bless their exit without hosting a farewell parade. Freedom is quiet and decisive, and it fits you beautifully. Your home has learned to hold laughter without spilling it. You welcome friends who treat your table like a chapel of kindness. Conversations rise like bread and feed the room on time. You practice courage in small corridors so it is fluent in large arenas. Your voice no longer trembles when truth asks for a steady carrier. Even your silence is understood now, because it is placed with care. There is a door labeled expansion that opens as you steward what you already have. Inside, resources are multiplied by focus and cleaned by clarity. Waste leaves the premises and excellence signs the lease. You honor rest as if it were part of the work, because it is. Sleep stitches your days together with gold thread you cannot see while waking. You arise wearing unforced power and move like water that knows its current. Opportunities that once felt too heavy now match your frame. You accept them without shrinking and without swelling. Balance greets you at the threshold and walks beside you in step. Feedback visits and you make it tea instead of armor. You receive what grows you and discard what disguises injury as advice. Your roots deepen, and the fruit takes its time with confidence. You have stopped proving that you deserve good things. You simply participate in them with gratitude and stewardship. Entitlement has been evicted, and worry has lost its key. A letter arrives from your future written in the ink of steady days. It thanks you for every small decision you refuse to postpone. It says the compound interest of faithfulness is now funding miracles in plain clothes. You understand that discernment is not suspicion, it is clear seeing. It names reality without cruelty and assigns your energy without apology. Your yes is clean, and your no is kind. Doors that once swallowed you now open inward and wait. You step through with the posture of someone already chosen. Choreography follows your feet and the room remembers how to host you. You invest in your craft like a farmer who knows the season. Study becomes friendship, and practice becomes worshipful focus. Results gather naturally where preparation laid a path. Generosity increases without bargaining with your stability. You give from overflow, not from the wound of wanting to be seen. Joy returns with every open hand and refuses to leave empty. Your body thanks you for choosing rhythms that honor it. Movement is no longer punishment, it is partnership. Strength arrives politely and stays long enough to help. You forgive yourself thoroughly, not as a favor, but as a requirement for growth. Shame collapses like a tent in a wind it cannot negotiate. Grace builds you a house with real walls and many windows. You become fluent in saying less because your integrity says enough. Rooms adjust themselves without you rearranging your worth. Influence settles on you like quiet weather, consistent and sure. Your blessing rewrites scarcity into strategy. You see pathways where anxiety once saw cliffs. Bridges appear under your feet because you kept stepping. The right alliances begin to hum with mutual respect. You collaborate without losing your voice, and they win without needing you small. Together you build outcomes shaped like longevity. You protect your mornings from emergencies that do not belong to you. In that protection, purpose stretches and smiles like an athlete in sunlight. By noon, your work hums with the halo of focus. Beauty returns to your simplest routines. Folded laundry looks like a promise kept, and the swept floor feels like prayer. The ordinary becomes a sanctuary you can rely on. You carry a lantern for those still navigating their night. You do not drag them, you simply make the path visible. Some follow, some wave from a distance, and both are fine. When grief visits, you give it a chair without letting it redesign the house. You listen to what it teaches and feed it compassion without starving your joy. Then you walk it to the door with tenderness and boundaries. Your timeline relaxes now that control has retired from management. Trust signs the contract and begins paying dividends immediately. Peace does not promise spectacle, it promises solidity, and delivers. You plant a small grove of projects that will mature over seasons. You label each tree with patience and keep the soil honest. Harvest becomes a calendar, not a guess. Archangel Michael says he is stationed at the perimeters of your days. He confirms that the blessing remains active as long as your yes remains honest. He nods, and the air around you learns the shape of assurance. You no longer confuse motion with progress. Your steps are measured, your words are weighed, and your outcomes align. Haste moves out, and mastery moves in with boxes labeled clarity. You look back briefly and bless the version of you who kept walking. That traveler did not know this view existed, but walked anyway. You inherit their courage and pay it forward in decisions. Vision expands without demanding spectacle. You see the next right thing and do it with a warm steadiness. Doors keep behaving, and you keep arriving on time for yourself. The season ahead asks for devotion more than drama. You agree, and your schedule becomes a covenant with what matters. Promises mature, and your life begins to sound like a well-tuned bell. Morning opens like a well-tuned curtain and light steps into your room on time. You greet the day without bargaining with your energy because your yes is already chosen. Calm lays out your tools and reminds you that excellence loves early friendship. You move through tasks with a rhythm that honors both speed and soul. What matters most goes first and everything else waits without drama. Completion becomes a language your hands speak fluently. You have retired from apologizing for your focus. People who respect your calling feel welcomed by your clarity. Noise recognizes it will not be fed and leaves quietly. The blessing trains your attention to land where results grow. It shows you the field, the seed, and the weather pattern of consistency. You plant in faith and water in practice until harvest greets your patience. Your heart keeps house like an inn for honest feelings. Joy gets the largest room and grief receives a chair with soft arms. Both learn your boundaries and thank you for the order. You choose mentors by their fruits and their peace. Your spirit recognizes the tone of the trusted and rests in their counsel. Together you trade shortcuts for blueprints and shallow for durable. You learn to close each day with a clean floor inside. Regrets are sorted, lessons filed, and gratitude turns off the last light. Sleep comes quickly because there is nothing left to negotiate. Your schedule now contains white space that breathes. Ideas arrive on time because they can find a place to sit. Creativity trusts you again and brings friends who carry solutions. Provision walks with a steady stride and refuses to sprint or starve. Bills are answered in order and obligations are met with grace. Overflow introduces itself without fanfare and offers to help you build. You no longer perform for rooms that are allergic to your truth. Presence replaces performing and you stand like a lighthouse without noise. Those meant to find you do, and arrival feels natural. Michael stations assurance at the edges of your planning. He confirms that courage has become your default setting. You operate from settled identity rather than borrowed approval. Your boundaries sound like kindness because they are made of respect. They protect what is forming and invite what is faithful. They teach your life to keep its shape in busy seasons. You give from strength instead of emptiness. Generosity becomes a clean river that never floods your foundation. People leave your table nourished and you remain whole. Old triggers try the door but find it locked by new understanding. You hear their footsteps and bless them from the window. They keep walking because there is nothing left to host them. Opportunities line up in a queue that matches your capacity. You accept the ones that sing in your key and release the rest without guilt. Alignment turns yes into a multiplier and no into a guardian. Your body thanks you for simple faithfulness repeated. Water, movement, nourishment, and rest become unremarkable miracles. Energy returns as a companion that keeps promises. You study quietly and practice until skill becomes hospitality. Rooms feel safe in your competence and people relax into their roles. Results gather where you set out chairs for them every day. The blessing changes how you hold time. You choose deep work over scattered effort and completion over theatrics. By evening, satisfaction hums like a low song that never strains. Relationships grow in the soil of honest expectation. You speak plainly and listen fully so confusion has nowhere to live. Trust renews itself because it keeps being watered. You invest in tools that serve the long run. Every purchase answers a purpose and every habit saves a future hour. Your environment agrees with your assignment and reduces friction. Michael unwraps a new measure of boldness for the next door. It is not loud, it is certain, and certainty respects both you and the room. You step through without shrinking and without swelling. Your name travels ahead with a reputation for steadiness. When people call you, they are calling peace to their project. You show up with clarity, deliver cleanly, and leave gratitude behind. You keep a small list of non-negotiables that escort every day. Prayerful quiet, focused work, truthful rest, and gentle review. These pillars carry the weight so your shoulders can carry vision. The blessing makes you bilingual in grace and discipline. Grace forgives the stumble and discipline protects the stride. Together they teach you a pace that finishes. You count wins that do not need applause. A solved problem, an honored promise, an unprovoked kindness. These are the bricks of the legacy you are building. You refuse to outsource your self-respect to anyone. Identity remains an inside job and you keep it well staffed. Confidence becomes housekeeping that tidies your thoughts on schedule. Your future keeps sending quiet confirmations. Emails that read smoother, doors that open inward, timing that smiles. You respond with diligence and let joy sign the receipt. When conflict appears, you choose clarity before conclusion. Truth removes fog and kindness removes heat. Solutions emerge because your peace stayed in the room. You are becoming unhurried excellence. The kind that does not panic, the kind that outlasts trends. The kind that turns moments into structures other people can lean on. The blessing extends into your finances with wise calm. Budgets feel like freedom because they focus your yes. Savings becomes a conversation with your future that ends in gratitude. You curate what enters your mind like a gatekeeper trusted by a city. Good inputs, honest data, nourishing words. Your thoughts align with direction and direction produces outcomes. Your workbench no longer hosts projects born of insecurity. Everything you touch answers a real need with real value. Your signature becomes shorthand for integrity. Michael nods at the horizon where another good door is taking shape. He reminds you that patience is not a pause, it is preparation. You keep doing the next right thing and the door builds itself. Even your leisure renews instead of numbs. Walks, pages, music, laughter that needs no audience. Play returns as a teacher who loves your growth. You honor endings with clean goodbyes and blessed transitions. Nothing is dragged and nothing is dumped. You travel light and arrive ready. Each day closes like a finished letter you are proud to send. You sign it with gratitude and place it on the stack of done. Sleep receives you and tomorrow already respects your approach. The blessing is no longer an event, it is the climate of your life. It governs your choices, seasons your speech, and protects your steps. You live inside it the way a tree lives in its right soil. And so you continue, faithful and bright. You keep the pace that keeps you whole and you do the work that loves you back. The path widens, the fruit ripens, and your light stays steady. Dawn threads gold through your curtains and invites your focus to wake gently. You rise without rushing because steadiness has become your home. The room answers your posture, and the day learns your rhythm. The blessing moves like quiet weather over your plans. It settles on tasks that used to resist and turns them cooperative. Friction reduces, and your energy arrives where results grow. You keep a short list that always gets done. Each line is a hinge that swings open larger doors. Completion becomes the fragrance of your hours. Michael stands near, not dramatic, simply present. His nearness teaches your breath to stay even. Confidence becomes body language that no longer asks permission. You curate inputs the way a gatekeeper protects a city. Only what nourishes enters, and only what aligns stays. Your mind thanks you by producing solutions on time. Habits stack like clean bricks that welcome weight. Small consistencies turn into a structure that does not shake. You trust the build because the foundation is honest. You pause before sending and your words mature in the silence. The message arrives sharp and gentle at once. Responses mirror your clarity and shorten the path to done. Provision remains steady like a faithful companion. Expenses meet right timing and income learns cadence. You plan with calm numbers that tell the truth. Relationships breathe because expectation is named. Love stops guessing and begins cooperating. Trust grows roots in soil that is weeded regularly. You celebrate small progress like a gardener noticing sprouts. You water with attention and protect with boundaries. Growth happens while you sleep and greets you in the morning. Michael places discernment like a lamp at every intersection. The lamp does not shout, it simply reveals. You see enough to move and moving reveals the next step. When fatigue speaks, you honor it with replenishment. Rest repairs what willpower cannot. You return to work as someone restored instead of rescued. Your finances reflect stewardship that respects tomorrow. Budgets choose clarity over impulse and gratitude over comparison. Peace enters the ledger and stays for the long haul. The blessing teaches your schedule to be a covenant. You sign it daily with attention, courage, and closure. By evening, dignity sits on your finished list. Opportunities come sized to your maturity. You accept what aligns and release what flatters. Integrity escorts both choices to the right door. Creativity finds you because you keep your promises to boredom. You sit long enough for ideas to arrive without performance. They land softly and you give them room to unfold. You step into rooms with a presence that calms temperature. Conversations stop chasing control and begin chasing solutions. Your steadiness sets the tone like a tuning fork. Forgiveness remains a tool you keep oiled. You use it to cut old ties to heavy memories. Freedom keeps pace because you travel light. Your home glows with completed corners. Chairs invite, tables serve, and floors whisper welcome. Order turns domestic spaces into sanctuaries that heal. Boundaries sound like hospitality to what matters. They offer chairs to honesty and a walkway for distraction to exit. Your life keeps its shape in busier weeks. Learning returns as a friend you enjoy, not a hurdle to dread. You study, practice, and apply in a clean loop. Results become predictable because the process is faithful. Michael gestures toward the horizon where new assignments warm in the sun. They are not emergencies, they are invitations. You answer with yes or no that honors capacity and calling. Your voice carries seasoned calm that rooms respect. It carries weight because it carries truth. People hear decisions inside your sentences and relax. Old alarms try to borrow your attention. You notice them without funding them. They fade because you no longer pay the bill. Projects land on your desk that match your design. You build them with excellence that prefers longevity over spectacle. Completion becomes a quiet celebration you recognize as abundance. The blessing turns waiting into preparation's final step. You use the interval to refine tools and deepen roots. Timing meets readiness and the yield multiplies. You treat future plans like guests you want to welcome well. You set the table with margin, clarity, and resources. Arrival feels natural because the room was prepared. Generosity expands without risking stability. You give with wisdom and keep with purpose. Overflow circulates and returns as trust from every direction. Your body carries the story of better choices. Strength reintroduces itself and stamina signs a long lease. Movement becomes gratitude in motion. You handle conflict like a craftsman handles delicate wood. You use precise tools and patient pace. Resolution holds because it was built, not forced. Silence is now a collaborator. It edits your next action and polishes your tone. It hands your peace back before you speak. Michael anchors peace at your thresholds. Entrances receive discernment and exits receive blessing. Flow replaces friction and days stitched together seamlessly. You honor endings so that beginnings aren't crowded. Closures are clean and transitions are blessed. You step through new doors without dragging old furniture. Your legacy starts sounding like reliability in ordinary rooms. People trust your word because your actions keep it company. Reputation becomes a lighthouse others steer by. The blessing matures into culture, not a moment. It informs your choices, seasons your pace, and secures your path. You live inside it like a tree planted near steady water. Night arrives with satisfaction that does not need applause. You stack another day on the shelf of done. Sleep gathers you and tomorrow already nods in agreement.